Okay, let's work on week 1 assignments. So, question number 1. What do we have? We have linear equation 9x minus 15, and that is equal 66. Okay, we have to find the value of the variable that satisfies this equation. And then we need to check the solution. Okay, so what is going to be solution? It's very easy to solve. All I'm going to do, combine like terms, which is 15 and 66, and therefore I'm going to take, let me rewrite it over because I don't want to do drafting on original problem. So this negative 15, I'm moving on this side. So every time when we move numbers over this equal sign, be it from here to here or from this side to this side, all we're going to do, we're going to flip the sign. Now, in this case, I'm going to move negative 15 on the other side of equal sign. Therefore, it's going to be 9x is equal 66 plus 15. Okay? 9x is equal 6 plus 5, 6 plus 5 is 11, and 6 plus 1 in mind, 11. 6 plus 1 is 7, and 1 we have 81. So to find our x, we have to divide by 9 because we need x but not 9x. And since between them multiplication, we have to do opposite operation, which is division. Therefore, we divide by 9, and we know whatever change we do to one part of equation, we have to do exactly same change to the other part of equation. And we are getting, this is gone, and this one is going to be 81 divided by 9, it's going to be 9. So x is equal 9. And we write down solution as 9. Okay, so next question, number 2. Well, we need to solve the next question. 7x minus 2x minus 11 is equal 41. Okay, here, before we combine anything, all we have to do, open this parenthesis. And what is here interesting, every time when we have negative sign in front of parenthesis, once we open this parenthesis, it's going to flip every sign within parenthesis. What do I mean by that? Let me do some drafting. Let's assume I have here negative 9x plus 3, and then minus negative 2x minus 5 plus 1 minus 4x, and then plus 5y. So because of this negative sign, negative 9x plus 3, it's going to affect every single sign in parentheses, which means it's going to flip. Look here, negative 2, the 2x was negative, will become plus 2x. 5 is negative, will become plus 5. 1 is positive, will become negative 1. This is negative 4x, will become positive 4x, and positive 5y will become negative 5y. Okay, this is how it works. So therefore, now let's get back to our problem, and we will have 7x minus, so 2x is positive, will become negative 2x. 11 is negative, that means it will become positive 11, equal 41. Now let's combine like terms, 7x negative 2x, and 11 we are going to combine with 41. Okay, so 7x minus 2x is 5x. And this 11 and 41 on different sides of equal sign, right? Therefore, we are going to take 11 and move on this side. And it's going to be 41 minus 11. Remember, every time we move any term over equal sign, we flip on the opposite. It was positive, now it became negative. So from here, 5x is equal, this is going to be 30. And we divide by 5 because coefficient of x is 5. Let's take figure number, okay. We divide by 5. Here also we divide by 5. This 5 and 5 is gone, and x is equal, 30 by 5 is 6. So the answer is going to be 6. Next question, question number 3. What do we have here? 7x minus 2 is equal 8 plus 6x. 8 plus 6x. Now, x's I'm going to collect on the left side from the equal sign, and 2 and 8 on the other side of equal sign. So let me move 7x. Since I move 6x on the other side, it's going to become negative 6x equal 8. So 2 is negative. Once I move here, will be positive. Yes? Let me clean this mess so original one won't look messy. Okay, so 7x minus 6x is equal x, and 8 plus 2 is equal 10. And the answer is going to be 10. Question number 4. So, solve linear equation. 5 times x minus 2 plus 19 equal 4 times x plus 4. Okay, before I combine or do anything, since we have here multiplication, I need to multiply this number over parentheses. So what do we have? 5 times x, it's going to be 5x. 5 times negative 2, it's going to be negative 10, right? Let me clean this. Next, plus this 19 stays there. Next, we need to take 4 and multiply by x. It's going to be 4x. And 4 times 4, it's going to be 16. Okay, now let's combine like terms. This negative 10, positive 19, and positive 16 are like terms, and 5x, 4x also like terms. So I'm moving all x's on one side, 5x. Since I'm moving 4x on this side of equal sign, it's going to be minus 4x. Positive become negative. Next, 16. This positive 19 moving over here, it's going to be minus 19. And negative 10 moving over here will be positive 10. So we have 5x minus 4x is equal x. 16 minus 19 is negative 3. And negative 3 plus 10 is equal 7. That's it. We got our answer is 7. Number 5. So what do we have? 5 times x minus 6 minus 6 times x minus 5 equal x plus 5 and minus x minus 2. Okay, so let's see. Here we have multiplication, we need to take care of it. Here we have multiplication, we need to take care of it. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 6, negative 30. Next, negative 6 times x is negative 6x. Negative 6 times negative 5, it's going to be positive 30, equal x plus 5 minus x minus 2, because we have negative sign in front of parentheses. It's going to flip every single sign within parentheses. So x was positive, will become negative. 2 was negative, will become positive. So what do we have? Positive x, negative x. It's we are canceling. Negative 30, positive 30 also canceling because it will be 0. Now 5x minus 6x, 5x minus 6x, it's going to be negative x, equal, here we have 5 plus 2, it's going to be 7. If negative x is equal 7, so we both sides we can divide by negative 1 to get rid of negative sign. And we are getting positive x, because negative by negative is positive, is equal negative 7. And the answer is negative. Number 6. Number 6 is about complex numbers. So we have 6 minus 9i plus 6 plus 8i. Before we solve this problem, I would like to introduce you to complex number. Complex number, it's an imaginary number. It was created to work with negative, when we have negative number under square root. So let's say the form of complex number is a plus bi, meaning a is a real number and bi, it's a complex number, that's I meaning complex number. Okay? So in the complex number itself, I is equal square root of negative 1. Okay? Therefore, if I need to know I squared, it's going to be square root negative 1 squared, and it's going to be negative 1. Right? Okay. Now, in this example, we are going to combine like terms and simplify this expression. Let's work on it. So since there is a plus between them, I don't need parentheses, so I can drop out a window of parentheses, and I will have 6 minus 9i plus 6 plus 8i. So numbers with the complex number are like terms, and real numbers are like terms. Therefore, 6 plus 6 is 12, and negative 9 plus 8i, negative 9i plus 8i is negative I. And this is going to be our solution. Not solution, but simplified form. Okay? Next one, number 7. Again, now here we need to do subtraction. So we have 8i minus 16 minus 6i. Okay, let's open parentheses, 8i, and as you can see, we have negative sign in front of parentheses. So it's going to flip the sign. 16 is positive, it will become negative. 6i is negative, will become positive. So here we combine only 8i and 6i. So write down in the format of complex number, which is first come real number, negative 16. And then 8i plus 6i is plus 14i. And that is solution. Question number 8. We need to find the product. So what do we have? 4 minus 2i. And then 6 minus 5i. Okay, let's do it. So first, I am taking first number 4 multiplied by 6. It's going to be 24. Next, 4 times negative 5i. It's going to be negative 20i. Next, negative 2i multiplied by 6. It's going to be negative 12i. And negative 2i multiplied by negative 5i. So negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. And I times I, we are getting I squared, right? So what does that mean? Let's first of all combine these two. I will get 24, and negative 20i and negative 12i will be negative 32i. And 10i squared. Remember here what I told you. I squared is equal negative 1. So which means we are getting the 10 times negative 1. It's going to be negative 10 because I squared is equal negative 1. Okay? And from here, like terms, 24 and negative 10, we get negative 32i here, and 24 minus 10 is 14. So the answer is going to be 14 minus 32a. Question number 9, we need to multiply. What do we have? 7 plus 8i squared. Okay, so this is how we're gonna work on this. I'm going to use, rather than, we have two choices actually. One choice is 7 plus 8i multiplied by 7 plus 8i in dual multiplication. The other one, we can use formula a plus b squared. Okay, so looks like they are looking for the two parentheses to multiply by each other. Let's do it then. So 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 8i is going to be 56i. Next, 8i times 7 is going to be plus 56i. And 8i times 8i is going to be plus 64i squared. Yes? Okay, let's combine like terms. 49, 56, no, sorry. I just noticed yeah, because let me first then get rid of I squared because it's negative at negative 1. So 49, 56i and 56i is going to be 112. I and 64, since I squared is equal negative 1, so it's going to be minus 64. Okay, so negative 64 plus 49. 14 minus 9 is 5. Right? And 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 plus 112, negative 15, plus 112i. Moving to question number 10. We have 5i over 2 minus 9i. What do we do here? We need to get rid of complex number in denominator, because we can't have complex number in denominator, just like we can't have square root or radical in denominator, just like we can't end up with negative x as an answer. So we can't have imaginary number, complex number in denominator. So therefore we're going to rationalize. What to do that? How to do that? We have 2 minus 9i. If we have 2 minus 9i, let me do drafting here. That means I have to multiply by 2 plus 9i. Why? I'm applying formula a plus b times a minus b, because it will be equal a squared minus b squared. That's the formula. If that's the case, then I'm going to write down it equal 2 squared is 4, and then minus 9i squared, which means 4 minus 9 squared 81, and I squared. Since I squared is negative 1, it will be 4 plus 81, right? Because I squared is equal negative 1. With this negative will become positive 81, and the answer will be 85. Yes? Okay, let's work on it. This was a drafting. Now, what we are going to do, let me rewrite. 5i divided by 2 minus 9i. So we need to multiply by opposite sign, meaning 2 plus 9i, and writing down here 2 plus 9i. So what do we get? Here we solved it, we got 85, but still let me write down 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 squared is 4, and minus 9i squared, right? Because again, I'm using formula a plus b times a minus b is equal a squared minus b squared. Now, in numerator, so we need to multiply 5i times 2, it's going to be 10i. 5i times 9i is going to be plus 45. I times I, it's going to be I squared. And this is going to be equal 10i. I squared is negative 1, so it's going to be minus 45. And here we will get 4 minus 9 squared is going to be 81, and I squared here. So we get 10i minus 45, and in denominator we will get, since I squared is equal negative 1, so it will be 4 plus 81. And the answer is going to be negative 45 plus 10i. All I did, I just switched these terms. First come real number and then imaginary number, and divided by 85. And this is going to be our solution. But we can simplify. Let me simplify further. So the way your Pearson simplifies. So since this is common denominator 85, I can write down negative 45 over 85, and then plus 10i over 85, because 85 is common denominator. So in numerator, every single term I can divide by 85. So 45 and 85 I can simplify by 9. This is going to be not by 9, by 5. It will going to be 9 by 5, and 85 simplify, divide by 5, it's going to be 17. Yes? And what we have here, 10i over 85. So this one also we can simplify, divide by 5, which is going to be 2, and 85 also divide by 5 is going to be 17. So the answer is negative 9 over 17, and then plus 2 over 17i. And that is the answer. Okay, moving to next question 11. All right. So, solving equation using factoring. x squared minus x minus 56 equals 0. Okay, we're going to solve this equation using factoring. What kind of factoring is that? So every time when we have x squared, let me write down red color, x squared plus bx plus c equal 0. This x squared, we are going to put 1x per parenthesis, 1x come here, 1x come here, because there is multiplication between them. So x times x is going to be x squared. And then we will have first number and then second number. The way that first number multiplied by second number will be equal c, this c, and first number plus second number, it's going to be b, this is b. Okay, so here we have x squared minus x minus 56. Okay, that means, so I'm going to have x in each parenthesis, right? Now, which two numbers multiply by each other, we are going to get negative 56, and addition get negative 1, because negative x is negative 1x. Well, let's see how I'm analyzing this, how I'm thinking. First number multiply by second number, it's going to be equal negative 56. Let's see, multiplication of which numbers gives us 56. Let me leave this negative for now. 7 and 8, right? What else? 56, it's going to be 28 by 2, right? So which means one of them is going to be negative. Let's say this one is negative. Or in this case, 7 times negative 8, negative going to be here, and 28 times negative 2. Okay, so how we figure out which one is the answer? So all of them, if you multiply, you get negative 56. But we are going to filter by this addition. By this addition, here we have negative 1. So whichever gives addition negative 1, that one will be the answer. Negative 7 plus 8 is positive 1. It's not working. We need negative 1. Negative 28 plus 2, it's going to be negative 26. 7 and plus negative 8, it's going to be equal negative 1. This one. Okay, it's going to be, looks like 7 and negative 8. And here 28 and negative 2, it's going to be 26. So it looks like 7 and negative 8. Here it's going to be plus 7. Here it's going to be minus 8. And you are done. So this is equal, it's going to be equal 0. We broke down into factoring. And from here, let me clean this. And we are getting either, since product is equal 0, that means either x plus 7 is equal 0 or x minus 8 is equal 0. So from here, x is equal negative 7 and x is equal positive 8. Why? Because it was negative here on this side. Moving over, we get positive 8. We had here positive 7. Moving over, we get negative 7. Okay? Number 12. Let's see what we have. Number 12. We have x squared is equal 4x plus 12. Okay, if just in case you are looking for trinomial quadratic equation, because we have x squared, we have x, so I'm going to move 4x and 12 on the left side, which is going to be x squared. It was positive, will become negative. It was positive 12, will become negative 12, equals 0. And now let's figure it out how we are going to factor. So multiplication of two numbers, it's going to give us negative 12. In addition, it's going to give us negative 4. So I would say negative 6 and positive 2. Negative 6 times 2 is going to be negative 12. And negative 6 plus 2 is going to be negative 4. And exactly why we have. So it's going to be negative 6 and positive 2. Okay, so from here, if product of two pieces is equal 0, then it's either x minus 6 is equal 0 or x plus 2 is equal 0. And from here, x is equal 6 because we are moving. And from here, x is equal negative 2. Yeah. And this is going to be our answer. 6 and negative 2. Okay. Question number 13. So what do we have? X minus 4 squared equal 4. How are we going to solve this problem? When we have, let me do drafting. When we have a squared equal, for example, 9, then a is going to be equal plus minus square root 9. Yes? Which is going to be plus minus 3. Why do we have plus minus? Because negative 3 squared equal 9. Also positive 3 squared equal 9. So the same way we're going to solve this problem. So x minus 4 squared equal 4. Then x minus 4 is going to be equal plus minus square root of 4. We are taking two square root practically. Square root from here, square root from here. You have right to do that as long as you do for on both sides of equation, you can do that. And once we take square root from the first square root, x minus 4 squared will come out x minus 4. When you can't separate expression under the square root from each other, let's say x and 4, you can't separate them. It goes as a one term, okay, because it's under the square root. Okay, so let me clean this, and practically x minus 4 comes out, and we will get plus minus square root 4, which means it's going to be x minus 4 is equal, square root 4 is 2, we get plus minus 2. And from here, we're going to have x minus 4 equal 2 and x minus 4 equal negative 2. So from here, x is equal 6 because I'm moving on this side, negative 4, and it will become positive 4. And here it's going to be 4 minus 2, because negative 4 moving on this side, it's going to be positive 4, and x is equal 2. So we will get two answers, 2 and 6. We first write down the smaller number and then second bigger number. So this is going to be the answer. Moving question number 14. We have 4x squared plus 7 equal 27. Okay, this is going to be more interesting in this case. We see we have x squared, and those are, excuse me, two like terms, right? 7 and 27. So 4x squared, it's going to stay on one side, and 7, I'm moving on this side. So I can combine with 27, and it's going to be 27 minus 7. Okay, 4x squared equal 20. So since we need x squared, we divide by 4 here, and accordingly also on this side. This is gone. 4 and 4 canceling, and 20 divided by 4 is 5, which means x squared equal 5. And from here, we will have x is equal plus minus square root 5. Yes? Because we are taking square root, it's always going to be plus and minus. Question number 15. We have 5x squared minus 5x minus 1, and that is equal 0. Okay, so what do we have here? We have x squared, we have x, and we have available term. Why I'm not mentioning coefficients, because to identify the form of a quadratic equation, coefficient is not important. But what we see, that we have quadratic equation, we have x squared, we have x, and we have available term. And that's going to be represented in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay? How we're going to solve this quadratic equation? One thing I want you to know, that based on the highest degree of equation, based on highest degree of equation, in this case it's 2, we can identify 2 solutions. See here we have 4x squared, we have 2 solutions. Here we have also squared, we have 2 solutions, 2. And if I look higher, where is it? Above problems we solved. Let's take number 3 here, or number 4. The highest degree is 1, right? Therefore, we ended up with 1 solution. So based on highest degree of equation, you can figure out how many solutions this equation has. Let's move back to our problem. Okay, how are we going to solve this type of quadratic equation? There is a formula, x1, 2, because there are 2 solutions, so I'm combining them. For now, it's going to be negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now, it looks like scary, this formula, but it's absolutely not scary. I will solve and you will see. Now, what do we have here? Let me write down ax squared plus bx plus c equal 0, right? So what do we have? We need, since our solution x consists of a, b, and c, right? So let's write down how much is my a, how much is my b, and how much is my c. A, b, and c. So my a is 5, right? My b is negative 5, correct? And my c is negative 1. Okay, now let me clean this carefully. All right, so not to make a mess. So x1, 2 is equal. We have negative b. If my b is negative 5, Then negative b will be positive 5. Then plus minus square root. We have b squared, so negative 5 squared minus 4 times a is positive 5, c is negative 1, and divided by 2a. 2 times a is 5. Okay, let's solve it. So x1, 2 is equal 5 plus minus negative 5 squared is 25. Now I have minus 4 times 5 times negative 1. So since I have negative, with this negative, it's going to be positive plus 20. And in denominator, we will have 10. So from here, we have 5 plus minus square root 45, right? Divided by 10. So let's figure it out, square root 45, how much we can take out. In this case, we don't have the whole number squared that will give us 45, but at least we can get partially, right? Okay, I know that square root 45, I'm doing drafting here, is square root 9 times square root 5. Now you can say, why did you take 9 and 5? You could take square root 15, square root 3, that's true. You could take 45 and 1, that is also true. But the reason I picked 9 and 5, because I have square root of 9 that is free. In this case, from square root 15, square root 3, no numbers come out, a whole number is not coming out. And square root 45 and 1 also, no, there is no whole number that would come out. Therefore, I stick with square root 9 and square root 5. Square root 9, it's going to be 3. And here we have 5. On the top of that, we will have plus minus, but we already have it in our solution, plus minus, so we are fine. This is going to be 5 plus minus 3 square root 5 over 10. Okay, let me clean this. And we have solved. I can't do anything else here. So from here, x1 is equal 5 plus 3 square root 5 over 10. I'm separating this plus minus here, okay? And x2 is equal 5 minus 3 square root 5 over 10. And solution gonna be accordingly 5 plus minus, you can put them together. Once you put plus minus, that already means 2 solutions, right? Okay, we are done with this. Moving to number 16. Let me combine this, make it look more compact. There we go. So moving to number 16. What do we have here? X squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this is not the only method. There is other way to factor with coefficient in front of x squared, but I'm not in favor to guess. Sometimes there are too much of guessing in factoring with the coefficient in front of x squared. Therefore, it's easier way. I prefer this method because it's easier. You just plug A, B, and C and just get going instead of guessing. But if you if you prefer to solve with the method of factoring, well, by all means, be my guest. So question number 16, x squared minus 6x minus 7 is equal 0. How we gonna solve this one? Now, because the coefficient here is 1, first thing I'm going to try to factor it down. Now, every time when we see coefficient of x squared is equal 1, it doesn't necessarily mean you always can factor. Sometimes that quadratic equation is prime. Prime meaning it's not factorable, you can't factor. Then, in such case, you go with the method of number 15 and just A mark down as a 1. That's it. But from what I see, let's try. So what it's gonna be here? 1x here, 1x here, right? This x squared. We put 1x here, 1x here, because when we multiply, get back our x squared, right? Let's see. We have negative 7 multiplication, first number, times second number. We have to get negative 7. And first number times plus second number, where we need to get negative 6. So I'm guessing, so for negative 7, what do we have? It's going to be either 1 negative 7 or negative 1 positive 7, right? Because it's multiplication. It's and 1 times negative 7 is negative 7. Negative 1 times 7 is still negative 7. But which one, when I add, will give me negative 6? This one. So therefore, plus 1 and negative 7. Allow me to remind you that the same way successfully, instead of plus 1, I could put negative 7, and then instead of negative 7, I could put plus 1. So it doesn't matter in which parenthesis, which number you put. Okay? So this is equal 0. Okay? And from here, our answer is going to be x plus 1 is equal 0. From here, x is equal negative 1, right? And x minus 7 equals 0. And x from here is equal, moving here, it's going to be positive 7. So what do we have? We have two unequal real solutions, right? They are not equal. Two different solutions. Okay, now just in case, if you are asked how much is the discriminant, what is discriminant? If we need to find out discriminant, this is how we're going to work. In this solution, the question number 15, this expression under square root is our discriminant. Shortly saying, let me write down discriminant with letter D is equal b squared minus 4ac, which means this entire expression under square root, this one, is our discriminant. Okay? Now, if it's asking in this case how much is our discriminant, so we need, since our d, I'm going to write down our discriminant, d is equal b squared minus 4ac. So let's write down how much will be my b, how much is my b, a and c. So a x squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So even though this quadratic equation we solve via factoring, but you still can solve with this method also, with the method I applied in problem number 15 by formula. So how much is my a, b, and c? My a in this case is going to be 1, right? B is going to be negative 6, and C is going to be negative 7. So from here, discriminant, discriminant is equal b squared, which is going to be negative 6 squared, minus 4 times a is 1 and c is negative 7. Okay, so from here, discriminant is equal 36. So we have two negatives, so multiplication is going to give me positive. 4 times 7, 28, and this is equal 64. So my discriminant will be equal 64. All right? Okie dokie. Moving to number 17. We have, in this case, absolute value. Question number 17. Absolute value of x, that is equal 12. Okay, so what is absolute value? Absolute value is a distance, nothing else. The absolute value itself always going to be positive. Okay, so in because we have positive, therefore we put in absolute value. Otherwise, it's an x. We have no idea it's going to be positive or it's going to be negative, right? Therefore, what we are going to do from here, x, if I take off out of absolute value, x is going to be equal plus minus 12. Let me write down here template, rather saying, so if we have absolute value of x is equal some number of a, and this is real number, we know how much it is, then x is going to be equal positive and negative a. Because it's equal positive and negative, and therefore we put x in the form of absolute value, these two straight lines, it represent absolute value. Therefore, we put this absolute value to get positive, only positive of x. Okay, but x itself, if I take off absolute value, that restriction of only being positive is gone. So x is going to be plus minus 12. Okay, so answer you can put either plus 12 minus 12, or you just can put plus minus 12. All right. Question number 18. Absolute value x minus 4 is equal 9. From here, if we take away absolute value, then restriction is gone of positivity. So it's going to be positive 9 and negative 9, right? So from here, x minus 4 equal positive 9, x minus 4 equal negative 9. And this x is going to be equal 13, 9 plus 4, because we move this 4 on this side, it's going to be positive. And here we will have negative 9, that's true, I thought it's a mistake. No, it's positive 9, negative 9, all is good. And plus 4, it's in this case, x is going to be 13. Here we will have x is equal negative 5. And this is going to be our answer. And the answer is going to be negative 5 and positive 13. Okay, question number 19. So we have 2x minus 1, absolute value equals 7. Minus 1, this is not 12, this is 2. 2x minus 1 equal 7. Okay, so we take away restriction. 2x minus 1 is equal plus minus 7. By the way, you know what for we need absolute value? Why we do absolute value? Because sometimes we need only positive one direction positive value. Why? Let's say when we are driving, right? It's a positive, right? Distance we measure only in positive, but we never drive backwards, correct? Therefore, we are using absolute value because we always move ahead. Now, the different story is when that's already in calculus going to be when we turn around and going back, that only shows direction. It's a different story, so don't confuse with it one. But here I am talking about driving forward and driving backwards, not turning direction, but driving backwards. Then that's why we use this, let's say, example, why we learn absolute value and where we can use absolute value. Okay, back to our problem. So here we have 2x minus 1 equal positive 7, 2x minus 1 equal negative 7. So from here, 2x is equal 7 plus 1, right? Negative 1 moving, it's going to be plus 1. 2x is equal 8, and x is equal 4 from here. Now this one, 2x is equal negative 7 plus 1. 2x is equal negative 6. X is equal negative 3. So here we have two answers, negative 3 and 4. Okie dokie. So let's solve the last problem, number 20. Let's see what we have here. 3 times 2x minus 1. We are advancing a little bit, equal 9. Okay. So how are we going to solve? 3 meaning times, right here, multiplication. So I'm going to write down 3 times 2x minus 1 equal plus minus 9. Okay, let's solve this one also. First, we need to distribute this 3 by this parenthesis, which means 3 times 2x, it's going to be 6x. 3 times negative 1, going to be negative 3, and it's equal plus minus 9. Okay, let's separate now because we have two equations here. 6x minus 3 is equal positive 9. 6x minus 3 is equal negative 9. All right, 6x is equal 9 plus 3, right? Once we move on this side, it's going to be positive. And 6x is equal negative 9 plus 3. 6x is equal 12, and x is equal 2. 6x is equal negative 6, and x is equal negative 1. So the answers we have, negative 1 and 2. Okay, I'm done with this assignment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in next video.